I am, but I tried to look you up as handsome, and that's not what you are on
I'm.
Facebook.
She calls me handsome in her phone. She's got me listed in her phone as handsome. Um, but I have her listed in my phone as Carrie Cold, and she got pissed off about that. I don't understand.
He doesn't do pet names.
Listen, hey, in the comments, give us a 1 if you can hear us okay. Give us a 2 if you can't hear anything. And we can see your chat. Thanks for joining us. We're glad you're here for Coffee Time with Preston and Carrie. The
You did
world's
so
cutest
good.
couple. Huh?
Don't say that. You
What?
did so good. Coffee time with Preston and Carrie. You said it properly. I just feel like I should tell you.
Yeah, normally I have to ask you how that's done and repeat it a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
All that stuff like that. Guys, this is a live show, so you can get involved by just putting your comments right there, and we will respond to said comments. Carrie, let me ask you a question. You mind if I ask you a question?
Yes.
I'm going to ask you a couple of questions.
You get one.
Well, in coffee time, you just sit there. You don't start the conversation. You wait on me to start it. And then you say things like, well, the man's got to lead the woman. The man's got to lead the woman. That's what you say.
What?
Why? Why do you like camping so much? What do you like about it? That's my question to you.
I like
Sorry
that.
for the noise. Yeah.
Why would you ask me a question and then start moving around so no one can hear the answer?
Because I'm only waiting to talk. That's all I do. I just sit here. I wait for more things to say. And I ask you questions just to get you talking so I can be thinking about the next thing I'm going to say. I'm joking like this much.
I know. It's almost 18 years that we've been married. I know. Oh, no.
Yeah. Watch the coffee.
Okay, listen, you already changed everything around. I'm not used to this. I'm all out of sorts today.
Yeah, but
camping.
Yeah, why do you like camping so much?
I like camping because I can't get the campground that we normally choose. I can't get any phone calls or messages really. There's no internet access, and there's no distractions.
Yeah.
It's just being alone with the ones that I love normally.
Okay.
And then reading. I have ample time to read and cook and just do things that I enjoy doing, but not have much of a responsibility. The most responsibility I have while camping is making sure we eat.
So let me get this straight. The reason you love camping so much is because you hate responsibility.
Yes. That's it.
Sherman and Heather Fussler joined us. Good morning, guys. Good to see y'all.
Morning.
Amazing. I like camping because it's just I put this hammock up, and I just like sitting there in the hammock, and it's so quiet. After we lived in Managua, Nicaragua for so many years, the noise pollution.
I remember.
And sometimes it just build up to a 10, and I'd just be in a tangent in the house just screaming. It reminded me of this teacher I had, this English teacher back in high school named Mrs. Cook. This old lady. I think we were her last year of teaching. She had been teaching for like 40 something years, and she was ornery. And we'd be in the classroom, someone would drop a pen and she'd be writing on the board. Somebody would make a noise with a paper or a pen, and she'd be like, "Stop all that noise. I hate that noise."
I think that's how I am with the kids.
And then I got in a big situation one time. See how I didn't even listen to you?
I know. Just keep
I
going.
just kept on going.
Just keep going.
I got in something happened in the class. I don't remember, but I got in trouble and I got put out of the class for 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
An in-school suspension. Talking too much, making too much noise. I don't remember.
That all fits.
Yeah, I was just waiting for her to stop talking so I could talk next. I got put out of the class. 3 days went by. My first day back in her class, I was still being a good boy because I had just come from in-school suspension. So I was just sitting there quietly. Yeah, the rest of the class was going crazy, talking. And she turned around. She's like, I hate that noise. Why can't y'all be quiet like him? And she pointed at me. I was like, does this crazy woman remember who the hell I am? I think she forgot. She's crazy.
No, she was probably letting you know, I see that you're being quiet. Continue, please.
She was positive reinforcing me. I appreciate you saying that.
Positively.
Hey, Andrea just joined us.
Hey,
I want to
Andrea.
say good morning to you. Just a little coffee. I'm having chocolate milk. Carrie's actually having coffee.
Yes, I'm having coffee.
So it's the getting away. It's the being quiet in the nature. Does it have anything to do with nature, or is it just being out that you like?
Well, see here, I mean, I do like nature, but mosquitoes love to eat me alive. I'm allergic to grass. I have like all this stuff that my body just inherently rejects nature with.
Yeah.
I came back from our camping trip with like a swollen eye. I guess I got a bite or it was some kind of allergy. I don't know. So.
Oh, I remember the swollen eye.
It's not that I just absolutely love nature.
Yeah.
I mean, I do. I just am not able to enjoy it like everyone else can, I think. No, it's that I like slowing down. I like getting quiet and alone. A lot of times when we go camping, you take the kids.
Yeah.
And so I have a lot of time to just sit and be by myself, which I really love to do because I love to spend that time with the Father, or I love to spend that time reading or just relaxing.
Being alone with thoughts.
Alone, right.
And there's no TV in there, so I'm not cranking the TV while I'm trying to sleep and all that stuff. I put the TV on, in case you didn't know. I put the TV on. And I just, in 2 seconds with the television on, I'm out. And then she gets sucked in and starts watching the program. So I put really dumb shows on. And then she's all like, why do you watch stupid stuff? So that you won't get interested in watching it. I'm doing it for you.
Here's the thing.
I do it for you.
At the beginning of our marriage, this is something I had to get used to because Preston had to have a television on every night. And I was like, how the hell do you sleep? Like, I can't sleep with the noise and the light and all that stuff. And now that we're so far in, I'm like almost 2 decades.
Whoa, slow it down.
It's almost
I want credit.
We're about to be on year 18.
18.
Almost 2 decades.
I want credit for every year. Don't be rounding up. Oh, it's 20 years. Oh, it's almost 2 decades. No. Those 2 years, they're gonna be long and arduous.
Let me tell you something. Once you pass the halfway point from decade 2, you can say it's almost 2 decades.
Okay, so as soon as we get to like year 26, that's almost 50.
No.
Listen, got a comment from Andrea. I love the feeling of simplicity. Yeah. Shameless plug, Andrea says, go see John Wayne at DeMontron RV in Conroe.
If you need an RV.
Shameless. Hey, this is not a commercial. This is commercial free, Andrea.
He shamelessly plugs himself all the time.
Whoa. Let's keep it PG. This is a family-friendly live broadcast, Carrie. But I think the reason when we go camping and stuff, I see all these people, they show up in these big giant RVs. They got tons of stuff to keep them busy. These RVs are huge. They're huge. It's like a little house in there. And sometimes we don't even see them outside. We just see them inside the RV. So do you think that the reason these people camping, and I'm not trying to judge or rush to conclusions with these folks, just an observation. I don't know. I was going to ask a question, but I'll make a statement instead. I don't know that I get the feeling that these people are out there camping for the same reasons that you just mentioned as to why you're out there camping.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you wouldn't really know, but I don't spend a lot of time outside of the RV when I'm camping. So if they're inside the RV, like, how would you know?
I guess that's true. I don't know that they're not in there reading or meditating or whatever the hell.
I mean, I try to go out and stuff, and I have like 1,000 things to keep mosquitoes away.
Yeah.
So I try to, but
I guess you sprayed off all over your face, and the only place that there wasn't off was your eyeball, and that's why that bug flew into your eyeball.
Well, no, now there's two separate events, okay?
Yeah,
One
okay.
is a bug flew into my eyeball, and the other completely separate event is that I got like bit on the eye.
Bit on the eye, a separate
On
event?
the eyelid.
See, this is crazy because I didn't even realize there were two events.
That's because you don't listen.
No, because there's always something going on with you. Oh, I got this.
This is
oh,
my
this.
life.
And so it's like they all bleed together into one just giant walking
Anyway, go see John.
drama show. Let me ask you something, Carrie. Why do you think it's hard for people to just go and be alone, be by themselves, and take time doing that?
I don't think that people are really comfortable with their thoughts or not being stimulated constantly. We live in a society that there's constant stimulation. You have television, you have podcasts, you have radio, you have
just crap like this, coffee time.
Right. You have stuff to watch or listen to or entertain you every moment of the day. Yeah. And we kind of discussed this earlier. Like when I was a kid, at night, there was a certain time where TV just didn't run all night long. You couldn't just turn on the television and see something that was great to watch.
I'm glad you put it like that, because earlier when you were mentioning that, and you were like, oh, TV, what? You couldn't just watch TV all night long. And I'm like, well, we're not that old. The Indian head on the television, you know what I'm talking about? Like at 12 o'clock, there'd be an Indian head.
No.
You don't know what I'm talking about? Like back in the 50s?
No.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Like when the television would shut off at the end of the day and it'd just be like an Indian head. Again, before my time. But go on.
No,
but something of quality. You can't just watch good
that
TV.
Just had like the colorful lines, and it was like when you turned it on.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yes,
because there was nothing playing, and it was all about like Saturday morning cartoons or whatever. That was the time that you watched.
Right.
I mean, anyway, it's changed so much, and people want to be entertained constantly. So when they have to be alone with their thoughts, they just think that they're bored.
Very good point.
So, I mean,
yeah, I'm convinced that boredom, let me just jump in here.
Sure.
I'm convinced that boredom is a spiritual battle. I don't have any evidence of it other than anecdotal, what I see in my own life, what I've seen in the life of others. But I'm just convinced. That's why I have to say I'm convinced, because I have no evidence, that the boredom really is, what did I just call it? That's a spiritual battle. What did I say? Yeah. It pretends to be boredom, but it's actually something much, much, much deeper than that. And I really think that 99.9, hell, 100% of the problems that the world is facing, that individuals are facing, are so much deeper than the surface. They're running around trying to look at the surface problem, the treat the surface symptoms. But the problem runs so deep. And when I say it runs deep, I don't mean it's complex. I just mean like the boredom. You just think it's something that you have, but it's actually like a spirit that's made a home in you. It's not boredom. It's not like a boredom spirit is what I'm saying. I would say that it's a spirit of fear that gets so deep down inside of a person that they actually think it's them. They think that they're afraid. And I know that because I recognize that in myself. I used to think that I was afraid of certain things, or that I had fear. I guess that's a better way of saying it, to say I have fear, not I am afraid. But when I finally started to get to know the real me, which is difficult to do, it is hard. It can be done. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. But it is hard to take the time to get to know yourself. It's so easy to look at what everybody else is doing and see the success that they have and then want to follow in that. But to just step back and go, I got to get to know me. I got to get to know why I'm doing things the way I'm doing them. On a side note, yesterday we spent some time out in the backyard planting and doing all the crap that we had talked about doing for a long time. And I had promised you a garden, an herb garden with raised beds and all this stuff, right?
Yes.
And then I go to Google image search and I'm like, oh, look at this. This is how they build this. They get this and they get these 2x4s or whatever the hell they use. I don't know. And they build this thing and it's all nice and looks good. And then I think about doing it and I'm like, oh my God.
We just talked about it too much. Like, statistically speaking, you read something on this. People who talk about what they're going to do, there's a huge percentage of them who don't actually do it because they've talked about it. So mentally, they've already checked it off of their list, right?
Yeah.
So thinking about it is enough for some people. Again, we get to this point where we're so stimulated by all this stuff around us that we're too tired to go do stuff. I mean, look, you watch TV all day on a Saturday, and at the end of the day, you're like, oh, I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
I've done 2 loads of laundry and watched TV all day. Like, what?
Yeah.
But that is how it is. Whereas yesterday we got out in the yard, we went to go get my herbs. My herbs.
Your herbs. They're not mine. I don't care.
See, this I'm thinking about you.
Yeah.
When I want animals and chickens and herbs. And I'm giving us
Here
stuff
it comes.
to do.
This is what she does.
I'm giving us stuff to do.
Right.
We're
Go
not
ahead.
stuck in here being stimulated by the television and the phone and everything. We're out in nature. And
you're being attacked.
More you than
in the
than
eyeballs.
Me.
Attacked in the eyeballs by nature is what I'm saying. But I had a point to bring all that up. And I appreciate what you're talking about, the getting out and getting away from the usual, being stimulated and all that stuff like that.
Right.
I get what you mean. The reason I was bringing that up was to say, when I saw all these other ways of doing things, I thought, yeah, I could do that. And it's true, I could do that. But the Saturday would come up and I'd be like, man, I just don't want to do that. I took some time. I got to know myself. And what did I do? I went and I got some cheap plastic totes. And I put your raised beds, I put a raised beds in there. And now it's just so budget and cheap looking. And it looks like something from,
I love it.
Like a developing country. And I've come to the realization, that's just like what I do best. That's why I'm not going to say what I was just going to say. That's why I'm just kind of a half-assed slacker about a lot of things. And about a lot. I'm not saying everything. About a lot of things. The garden was one of them.
Well, because the garden isn't like your love. It's something that interests you. Like, honestly, if it's having to do with music or the guitar or the piano or something like that, and it's something that you just enjoy doing, you don't half-ass it. You do it like you want to do it.
Yeah.
If it's something that you can find kind of interesting that I've brought up, you're going to be like, I'm not going to put a whole bunch of thought and effort into this because it's not something I really want to do. Is it beneficial? Can I see the upside to it? Yes, but it's not my passion. So here's your plastic tote.
Plastic totes. That's my style. I was totally used to that. Once I realized, you know what, this is really me. I'm not the guy going to get out there with the saw and do it all, make it look good, aesthetically pleasing. I just want it to function so that you'll be happy. And then boom, plastic totes. Why didn't I think of that before? Oh, because I was so busy looking at everybody else online doing what everybody else is doing. And back to my original point, which is if we don't take the time to get to know ourselves inside and out, we're going to be stuck thinking that the spiritual battles that we have, that the spirits that have made a home in our minds are actually us. We're going to actually believe that those thoughts we have are actually our thoughts, and no thought that you have is your original thought.
Correct. I agree with that. The interesting thing is the things that interest us will bring about spiritual change, right? And how do I know this? So yesterday I was looking up what stuff that we have in our refrigerator that I can plant right now.
Yeah.
Okay. So green onions we had. And so I was watching the pruning process and how, a green onion, you have some shoots, and to prune it, you take off the outside ones, but there's always this like thin one in the middle.
Okay.
And you leave that one to grow.
Okay.
And I was looking at how you prune different stuff, rosemary and other stuff that we have.
Yeah.
And I just thought, isn't that funny that that's exactly what the Lord does, is he prunes you in the same way. He keeps this remnant growing up, but he'll cut off this other stuff that's no longer of use to him.
Yeah, absolutely.
So something as simple as gardening, I make reference to being a parent all the time on here because I'm a parent. It's where my experience comes from.
Yeah.
And I see the relationship between the father and the son in my own household.
Mm-hmm.
But you can really use anything that you love and that you enjoy doing. I feel like every passion comes from the Father.
Sure.
So he will show you just spiritual truths in the simplest of things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when you do not work, when you're not putting your hand to something,
mm-hmm.
when you're just sitting down watching television and all these other things and not doing anything with your time, you're not going to be spiritually fulfilled to the point to where you could be. I'm not saying that you're not going to learn things from, you can watch a program and learn spiritual things from it, but I don't think you'll ever find the fulfillment that you're looking for in the spirit, because he comes to you in the quiet. And he also speaks in the Bible very clearly about what idle hands do. Okay. So if you're constantly working in something, I'm not saying overdo it, but if you're putting your hand to something and you're not filling your mind with just all the crap that there is, all the distractions in the world that there are readily available for you to fill your mind with, you'll get to a much deeper spiritual place.
That is so true. That is so interesting and true, because everybody, and when I say everybody, I mean the vast majority of people, the vast majority of people pouring into a church right now, the vast majority of people, even on the other side of the world, doing whatever religious crap that they got going on over there, they are running around looking for something to make them feel spiritual. Mm-hmm. Whether it's a religion, a practice, a fast, a worship service, all this stuff to feel the spirit, to do all that. And it's like, if you just actually took the time to learn how to do all things unto the Lord, then everything you did would be a religious experience. Right. It would be an act of worship. And I do this all the time at my job. I just have to remind myself, I'm doing this as unto the Lord. I just pretend like this car is God's car and he's got me out here washing it. So every time I'm tempted to cut a corner, or there's something way up underneath the seat, no one can even see that, I'm like, I can't do that because this is God's car. Right. I'm doing it as unto him. And when I was driving to an appointment, this person in front of me was doing stupid stuff. And I started to do what I normally do, which is like, I don't know, make a hand gesture, but down below the dashboard so that no one can see me, because I'm a Christian. So if I'm going to flip you off, it's going to be down here between only me, myself, and I. I'm not going to bring you into my flipping off. Are we allowed to do that? Are we still Christians? Like, I'm flipping you off underneath, but you can't see it because it's out of the camera.
Well, I feel like at that point you're entertaining the ability. You're entertaining not having control of yourself. So I'd say that's a sin.
But so I'm driving. This guy starts doing stupid stuff in front of me. I started to go into my unconscious reaction, which is just the normal. It's not me. It's just the normal thing I do. The real me, though, came awake in that moment and was like, what are you doing? I wonder if, and this is the question I had at that time. I was like, I wonder if all of us on this road right now, if we drove as unto the Lord, if we'd be doing half of the stupid crap that we're doing. If this guy would be cutting me off right now, and if I would be wanting to flip him off. Right. So the rest of that day, while I was driving around, I was like, I just reminded myself, I'm driving as unto the Lord. And I started thinking of all the things I did as unto the Lord. Mm-hmm. And just the spiritual experience that I had the rest of the day. And that was early on in the week. I had that the rest of the week where I'm like, this is just a religious experience. I'm like in church right now. And all I'm doing is rolling up an extension cord.
Right.
Stuff
I
like
mean,
that.
that's what you have to do, right? I mean, that's every day I go to work. Doesn't matter what job I have, I do my job as unto the Lord. And
Yeah.
while I'm doing it, I think if I was presenting this to the Father, that I would put everything into it that I have.
Yeah.
And so that's how I work. I put everything into it that I have. I get there early. I stay late if I have to. I know that I have a responsibility at home, so I don't allow it to conflict with that. But I do put everything into it. And because of that, I see the benefit of it,
Yeah.
right? And I just know if I have the chance to have a promotion and I go for that job and I don't get it, that's the Father's will.
Yeah.
And if I go for the job and I do get it, that's the Father's will. And I feel like if you come to situations like that in life, like the Lord has moved me on from jobs and things in my life so often. And there are times that it was heartbreaking and I just thought, I'm not ready.
Yeah.
And there are times that I was sorrowful. There were times that I cried. There are times that I lost friends. And now looking back at all of it, I just think I don't have to know the plan.
Yeah.
Right? All I have to do is do my job to the best of my ability. When I leave my office every day, I can say, I did all that I could do today because this is how I work for my Father.
Yeah.
And I come home and I do the best that I can do at home. And then I go to bed and do it again.
Yeah. Yeah. The real you is a child of God. And just like a child, all you want to do is do what's going to make your dad happy, what's going to make your father happy. You're not questioning him and worried about all this stuff. It's so important for people to overcome the thoughts by forgiving and understanding what forgiveness really looks like. We got to overcome that stuff so we can get back to being our real selves. And it's just like a bad habit. Just like a bad habit of like flipping people off underneath the dashboard and calling that the Christian middle finger. Just like I created that one, you can also start and develop good habits. And that's what it is. That's all we're dealing with. We're not dealing with sin. Oh man, I'm sinning again because I flipped that guy off. It's just a bad habit. And when you overcome the thoughts, get out of your mind, start living from within, you get to know the real you. God starts leading you out of that. You just start outgrowing it. Just like when we were kids and we outgrowed G.I. Joes and Barbie dolls. We didn't have to work to do that. It was just a natural part of growing and maturing. It's like one year I asked for G.I. Joes for Christmas. The next year, without even thinking about it, I asked for something completely different.
Right.
Because I outgrew it. It's so important. Overcome the mind. Get out of there by using forgiveness. And when you go and forgive face to face, your life is going to change.
And go ahead. No. And also when you're forgiving people, you need to realize like they may not forgive you. When you're forgiving someone and saying, I forgive you for all the crap and I harbor no hard feelings. Yeah. Right. They may not forgive you. They may not be there. They might hold on to that. And I always say the same thing, like you're keeping yourself in a prison.
Yeah.
When you hold on to anger and unforgiveness, you're keeping yourself in a prison and you cannot be forgiven.
Yeah.
That will be held against you.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So why would you want to imprison yourself? Why?
That's the sad thing.
Because you're not hurt. Like if you don't like me, you're not hurting me.
Yeah. That's the sad thing about the world as we know it now. Jesus has already done all the work. Satan has been defeated. It's over. The only reason people are still doing what they're doing is because they're too proud or they just don't know. They don't want to admit that they're captives and they're going to get drugged down and they're going to receive the inheritance that Satan's got coming to them. And then it's going to be too late. We got to overcome this stuff, get out of our thoughts, get to know ourselves, take time, be silent, be alone, whether it's going out in a camper. But I suggest every day of your life, every morning, every night, setting aside time to go be quiet, be still, observe your thoughts. You can't control them because they're not yours, but you can watch them and you can see what's going on. We get to know our real selves. When we do that, we're actually in the present with the Father. He's leading us, he's guiding us. We don't have to feel spiritual. We just are being spiritual because we're being led by the Spirit. Then we will have the opportunity to speak up when we need to speak up, to tell the truth with humility, confront somebody with love, and tell somebody that they're wrong without being angry about it.
Right.
And Jesus did all that stuff. Jesus flipped over tables without being mad. He called his friend Satan without feeling arrogant. He told the Pharisees, you guys are full of crap, without being smug about it. And he did all that stuff because he knew who he really was, and he knew what his Father wanted him to do. And we do the same thing when we get out of our thoughts and we just live our life. We do what's in front of us to do. And it's that simple, because we got to. The world we're in right now, with the craziness that's out there, with all the crazy stuff I get into on social media, we got to stand up and we got to speak up. We can't just go to church, turn up the music, hell, even put in earplugs like that one church. But we saw something where some church had earplugs you could put in if the music's too loud. We can't just keep going to our religious meetings, seeking the spiritual, neglecting a whole world of people out there who don't realize they're captives. Go ahead, and then we got a comment.
Well, a relationship with Jesus Christ is not relegated to Sundays. So
that's it. We're not married one day a week.
Right.
We're not married only the beginning of the day and then the rest of the day. I don't know. It's crazy. Heather Fusslier and Sherman, either one of them could have written this. What did they say? I struggle with forgiving myself
struggled.
Oh, I'm sorry. I struggled with forgiving myself for the longest time. I was my worst enemy until God showed me what I was doing. Very good. It's a very good point. And if you have any unforgiveness, it's because if you have unforgiveness towards yourself, it's because you don't trust God.
Yeah, I mean, the hardest person to forgive is yourself.
Right. And the Lord had to show me that. He's like, you just don't trust me, Preston. I was like, no, I trust you. I've been trusting you all my life. I trusted you enough to pack all my stuff and move down to Nicaragua. And God's like, there's still some areas you don't really trust me. And anybody who doesn't trust God, when God says, I have taken away every one of your sins, you are forgiven of that. Anybody who's still trying to help God is just not trusting God. And they're not really believing when Jesus said, I'm the way, the truth, and life. I'll take away the sins. There's nothing you can do about it. You just got to trust and then wait for God to take away your desire for G.I. Joes. Then it just happened.
I'd say that the hardest person to forgive is yourself. And the second hardest people to forgive, maybe person or people, depending on how many are in your life, are your parents.
Oh, yeah.
I would honestly say that from my experience, from all of the counseling I've done with people, from all the talking and friendships and everything that I've had, most of what I run into, it's not people who are unable to forgive other people. It's mainly, I mean, there's a little bit of that, but it's all rooted in the same thing. Either they cannot forgive themselves or they cannot forgive their parents. And it is an offshoot of that. All of their struggles are coming from that core place of unforgiveness.
100% of the problems that every single person has in this world is rooted in unforgiveness.
And when you do forgive, it's like that pruning, right? Where you have that one healthy shoot still coming up, and we're going to cut this off and use it in a salad or use it however.
That's right.
It's not that it can't be used. Once you've been pruned, what you prune off can be used.
Yeah.
But it's going to go into this area, and then you're going to keep growing.
Yeah.
So it's just
it's very interesting how you can you don't got to go and sit and try to seek a message. If you're paying attention, God's speaking to you all the time.
Yeah.
Speaking of time, we're going to end there. Real quick shout out. George Lopez said, amen to that. Great to see you. And we will catch y'all next Sunday. If you're in the Conroe area, we're at Candy Cane Park Thursday, 6:30. You can come out there, sing a little song with us. We just have a little conversation as well, just like we're doing right now. That's all the time that we're going to give to this.
Yes.
Go enjoy your Sunday.
Have a great week.
Carrie, another one in the books. I'll see you next time.